Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Can you do another?
Let's try that and see. We should have something there, hopefully. Because I'm showing, I tried to go to two different camera angles.
Yep.
All right. We got it now. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to have to dive into that. There's something going on with, I have two different camera angles to be able to show you guys everything. So that is going to be a problem, I think. But no biggie. We will get that figured out. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Sorry about that. That is weird. Okay. So that camera's saying no audio source. Interesting. Okay, well, we're going to have to roll with what we got then, because for some reason there is nothing on that camera to show. So it's already awkward and everything, let me switch over real quick and you guys can tell me if this works. You still have it on there where you can tell me? My IT department's out here. So let's see. What's going on, Josh? Give me just a second here, guys, and I'm going to switch over and test because I want to be able to show you guys a few things. It says no audio source, so it's not going to be, it's going to go away. Now you lost me, I'm sure.
It hasn't changed camera angles yet.
I'm sure you guys have lost me now. Yeah, you definitely lost me.
I can't tell it yet. No.
All right, guys. So I know that this camera is working. For some reason, all of a sudden, nothing's working, and I tested everything extremely well. So not sure what's going on, but we can figure that out later. Everybody hears me now, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So we will work with this and go from there. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do what I was trying to do now, but we can figure that out. So that is unfortunate. So I am not sure how to do what we're going to do tonight. Anyway, all good. We can kind of go from here. This weekend, I ran at the Rumble at Four Rocks, and had a pretty good weekend. For the first time, actually qualified straight into an A main for a bigger race like that in my late model, which was cool, and came up one race short on my or one spot short in a B main. I finished third in a B main with my sprint car. So is what it is. But definitely headed in the right direction. Got a lot of people to thank for that, and hit on a couple things that I wanted to really show you guys, and go through some ESC settings and things to where maybe where you guys are lacking. So because I know for the past we're going on probably 6 months now. I have really been struggling with my mod cars to the point where it's like, all right, I'm going to go back down to 13.5. I just clearly can't drive, or whatever. And I hit on a few things that have been really, really big for me. So, and it's basically one setting within the ESC, which is crazy. So yeah, let's try to figure out what's going on here. I really need to be able to show you guys this ESC, which is obviously unfortunate, but I will try to work around that. So I have the car down here in front of me, and we can kind of go from there on these ESC settings. Give me just a second and see if I can mess with a few things here. See what we got going on. So that's saying no audio source. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know what. There is absolutely no reason for this to be happening. But I want to make sure we get this information to you. So I go here to my settings.
So for one of your cameras.
So let's see if that is working now. I can switch it to this at least, and I. Fixed. Now it's fixed. Okay, there we go. Now it's fixed. It has to be fixed now. At least, well, it doesn't have to be, but I'm hoping it's fixed at least.
Yep. There.
Yep. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So sorry about that. Again, technical difficulties. Stay with me. Not sure what is going on there. I tested everything, and I'm getting a little garfunkled. So all good. And then we can go from there. So cool. So let's zoom in And let's click everything on. So this is, I'll go back out real quick. So this is my GFRP 24 Assailant. This is the car that I qualified and finished 6th in the A-Main at Rumble at Four Rocks with. And now I'm going to show you guys some of the settings that I worked on throughout the weekend, and really, like I said, really hit on a few things. So we can go from there. So I'll turn the car on, and then I have a ESC cam set up. There we go. Perfect. All right, now we look like we know what we're doing a little bit, everybody. So cool. So going in here, everything's plugged in. If this is a Hobbywing G3 ESC. So let me go in here and get all of this situated. Okay. So we can go kind of step by step with everything, guys. But the first thing that I want to show you guys actually is, before we get too in depth, I want to show you what I hit on. So, and again, this was only been in my late model. It hasn't been and we're going to go through all these. So don't worry I'm going fast right now. But right here is what I hit on that for the last 6 months essentially has made my late model undrivable, to the point where I have quite literally put the car on the track and haven't been able to make a lap. And again, it's crazy. It's crazy the difference that this right here makes. So what we're going to do is, right now I have freewheeling enabled. Okay. So I have my controller, my transmitter right here. I'm going to go back to the standard cam. I just wanted to show you that is enabled. And watch the rear tires and listen to how this car performs. Oops. Since I went in there, I will have to reset the car here, guys. So give me just a second. Give me just a second. Just got to cycle the power on the car here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is pay attention to the rear of the car, particularly the rear wheels, when I throttle up on this thing. So I'm going to try to have this turned to where you can see that I'm going full throttle, and we're watching the rear wheels here. So notice how all the power to the motor, when I let off, and it spins freely, but starts decelerating as soon as I let off the throttle. Okay? So what I had in here, let me hook everything back up. So I had that freewheeling setting that you've seen. I had that disabled. So I'll go in here. So I'll go down to freewheeling. And again, we're going to go through all these after this, guys. So what I want to show you now is I'm going to disable freewheeling. And this is what I think, or this is what I know, caused some pretty significant issues for my program. So as you guys can see, freewheeling is disabled, saved. Okay, so everything is saved. I will need to cycle power again. Okay, so now same thing. Watch the rear tires and listen to what the motor's doing when I pull full throttle as well as let off. Okay, so can everybody see and hear what the rear wheels are doing? So it's intermittent. It did it the first time, and these last 2 times it hasn't done it. Right there. Right there. So the car, for that extra 2 seconds, the car is staying at full power while I'm completely off the throttle. and now it didn't do it. So now the car stayed at full throttle for those extra few seconds when I'm not on the throttle on my transmitter. So what that's doing, or what that ended up causing for me, is coming out of the corner made this car next to undrivable, to the point where I could not figure out why the car would just turn left. I had no idea, and I could not figure out what was going on. So it was a total disaster. Switch back over here. So it was next to a total disaster on how to drive this car, and I've been struggling with it for literally for months now. The only thing I did on this car was enable freewheeling, and it brought the car to life like that, instantly. Urik's in here, and he said, Urik helped me find it, actually, and we were just couldn't figure out what was going wrong with this car, and I yanked on the throttle like near his pit area, and I seen that, and I go, what the heck is this? And I did it again, and it was like intermittent, and I finally showed him again, and I was like, dude, what do you think this is? So we went in and we finally played with some settings and got that freewheeling enabled, and the car was, it was just instant. The car was instantly drivable and ready to go. And it was unbelievable, the difference. And so the wild thing is, when, like, there's no, let me switch cameras back over, and we can keep going through. Sorry guys, there's steps I have to do now when doing this, but that's okay. So now that freewheeling is enabled, so Jeff, it's 100% in the ESC, because you change it in the settings in the ESC, and that's the change. So it 100% is that freewheeling setting. So what is interesting, though, with this freewheeling setting is there's no adjustment within the runoff running this off. So it makes absolutely no sense on, like, I don't even know where freewheeling like that, when it's disabled, I don't know where it would be. I don't know where you would use that or why you would want that. Because again, I turned it off, or I enabled it rather, and it was instant how drivable the car was. I could not believe how good this car was after that. So the really interesting thing is, I was always fighting with the car and trying to get everything set up correctly. Once we literally turned off this freewheeling, once we turned that off, I put a couple turns in the right front and a couple turns in the left rear of this car the entire weekend, and it was great. So, and so when you guys are saying it's the radio, I don't think it is, again, because it's a timing thing. What I'm doing to not simulate that is, let me go back out. So what I'm doing is, anytime you are at throttle for an extended period of time, like full throttle down the backstretch, for example, that's when it does it. And I can replicate it over and over again when you're full throttle going down the backstretch. And that's the time I got comfortable, or I thought I was comfortable, when I was having all these issues and I felt like I could really get into it, is when the car would totally go to hell in a handbasket. So there is nothing in this radio that would suggest that this radio is causing that issue whatsoever. There's nothing. I went through every page, every setting on this radio, and there's absolutely nothing that would signify that it's in the radio. And my Sprint car has had no issues whatsoever, and I run the same radio, same receiver, same everything. I have the same exact setup, I have the same motor, same ESC, same servo. Everything is the exact same in my Sprint car, and I do not feel this at all in the Sprint car. and I went in and looked, and freewheeling has always been enabled in my sprint car. So my sprint car needed a couple little setup changes, and the tires are actually where I figured out my were some of my issues on the sprint car as well. But everything was really, really good. So there's something in this freewheeling setting within the ESC on these G3s that caused that runoff. And it is replicatable from a full throttle perspective. When you hold it in full throttle, it will do that every time. It's when you're feathering on the throttle is when it's like it doesn't get to it. But the most interesting thing to me is in that freewheeling setting, there's no adjusting that. There's no adjusting the amount of time it runs off. There's no anything. So I thought that was very interesting. Dave, yes, both ESCs are on the same firmware. That is correct. Everything, like I said, everything is the exact same. I use the exact same battery. I mean, down to the fan, same transmission. The whole rear end of my late model, even now, is the same as my sprint car. Same motor, ESC, receiver, servo, battery, everything. Everything is the same across these two cars. The only thing that was different was this freewheeling setting. So I'm more than happy to go through here and show you guys what else I have set. Excuse me. I'm trying to get over a cold so I can get to the racetrack this weekend without feeling sick. But so I can go through here. All these thermals, I disabled all that. No big deal. Smart fan. Remote off is just so you can hold the brake and the car will turn off. The motor, I actually have it to where right now A is everything. But when I first had my Motive motors, before I did these Witz motors, I actually had this, the AC swap enabled. So the way that I had my ESC in the car, but there's no need for that now. And you're very well. So Andy, you're 100% correct. It would make me, essentially I would overshoot the corner almost every lap. Let me bring Andy's comment up here. So he's 100% correct with this comment. I did, and it caused me to overshoot the corner almost every lap until I would learn, okay, I got to let off way before or something like that. And again, the inconsistency comes in where if you coming off the corner, if you weren't able to get fully into it, full throttle, then it wouldn't run off. So then you would back up your corner way too much and have to almost like panic drive to get it back in. And this really created a mess, guys, especially for me that has been out of the hobby for quite some time. At this time when I was getting back in everything, it was a disaster. So finding this was huge. And Matt, so my sprint car does not do the same thing because I did not have that in this. I did not have that setting, and I didn't catch it until months later, like we've been doing. So we can go back through here. Throttle rate. I haven't really messed with any of this, all of this. So anything that you guys see that has a star next to it, those are default settings. This is so. The interesting thing here is, and I don't know if you guys have played with drive frequency, this is what I'm going to play with primarily the most this weekend at PTs. So the lower the setting, the more aggressive the car is going to be as far as power-wise. So right now I have it very, very docile. The car is very, very relaxed at that 32K setting. And from what I've seen and watching some other videos and whatnot, you really want to be in that like 12 to 18K range, it looks like. So 12 is actually the default. So I'm at 32 right now. I think I'm going to run a bunch of practice. I'm going to start at about 20 and move it down. But you can absolutely, I'm not going to do it because, it's common sense pretty much at this point. But the big thing, you can definitely tell in this car when you are throttle up, throttle down. You can absolutely, even in the sound of the output of the motor, you can 100% tell a difference and I did test that. You can tell the difference between like 32,000 and down to 20,000. I think I went all the way down to like 2,000, and the car is incredibly more aggressive, even in the sound of the car. So I'm really interested to see what this setting's going to do. But I did run it at that 32,000 at Four Rocks, and with a big track like that, some of the guys that I was pitting with and talking to, Uric was in here a little earlier. I don't know if you're still in here, Uric, but what I was telling those guys was my car just feels dead at the end of the straightaway. Like it feels very, very slow compared to a lot of these guys. And even on the pickup, like coming out of the corner, it just feels very slow and like it's sluggish. And I think that changing this setting around is going to make a big change. So, and it's it's going to make everything a lot more reactive and make things really come in and make the car. I don't want to say the word aggressive, but it's gonna give it a lot more power. So, and then Andy said it exactly. So lowering that is going to make the throttle more reactive, and he's absolutely right. Obviously you would want that a little bit more in your spec stuff. So I'm not going to go so low, Andy, that it makes it feel like an on-off switch. I still want to be able. I try to be as smooth as I can. So we're going to go through there. So Uric has a great point here. Uric is the man, by the way. Uric is almost the sole reason why I ran as good as I did. He really took some time and helped me. He's a Team GFRP guy. So if any of you guys know Uric, you know that he's absolutely the man. But and I know this is something that him and I did not cover over this weekend. So I'm sure this is something he would have had me change. But I'm definitely going to go. I'm at 32. I'm going to start going to that 25, like you're saying, that 24 range, just to get a little bit more power and see what I can feel. So, but we'll leave it at 32 now, so we know where I'm at. And the softening value. So what this softening value is doing is essentially backing up. It's basically reverse boost is the best way to define what softening is. So right now, I've taken a ton of boost out of the car with this essentially. So making the car way less aggressive. So this softening value, I can detune that softening value along with my drive frequency and really wake the car back up. But I've got a really good car underneath me and very stable, something nice and easy to drive. So the faster and faster I get being able to interact with the car, I'll be able to turn this softening value down and that drive frequency down and really wake this car up. So here we've already talked about freewheeling. In my opinion, make sure that thing is enabled, because if you disable freewheeling, I don't know how you could ever run the car the way that I've been trying to run it for the past umpteen amount of months. So it's crazy. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get over this cold. I think I stuck my head in the salamanders at Four Rocks a couple too many times and got over dieseled a little bit. So drag brake. I know guys run their drag brakes quite a bit higher, but what I was just trying to get a feel for the car. We didn't find these ESC settings, and particularly that freewheeling setting to get the car from running off. We didn't find that until basically practice was completely over. So obviously I was never, ever experiencing what drag brake was like in this car with the car running off the way that it did. So I'm going to keep tuning with this drag brake and keep kind of progressively going up. But definitely something to tune with as well. The drag brake, I know 2 again is incredibly low, but for a guy who'd never essentially had drag brake with this car, it's been good. So, and I'm sure that I'll keep increasing that as we go. And brake force, all of that good stuff. Like I said, all this is pretty default at this point. And that is one thing that kind of putting our heads together, me with Uric especially, boost timing here. I took all the boost out of my car. I can't quite remember how much I had in the car. Uric, I don't know if you remember if you're still in here or not, but I think, and I agree with Uric because Uric's kind of the one that pointed me in this direction, but I think that, going to boost with the ESC creates it an incredibly vulnerable or a more vulnerable car, as in the predictability is not very good. So yeah, Uric's saying that I had 10 in it, which I think it really made the car want to do some pretty crazy stuff. So really wanting to come out of the corner and light the tires up, it was not good. So yeah. So anyway, took all the boost out here, and again, when I go to wake the car back up, I'm going to come all the way back up here to this drive frequency as well as some of my softening values, and I'm going to lower both of these, and that's going to help me wake the car back up. But it's going to wake it up more naturally, more than wanting to get that real punch. So that's how we're going to go about it there. And let's see. So there we're back to boost. Activation is to auto. We're not running any boost, so this setting really doesn't matter. And again, none of these really matter as well because I don't have any boost in the car. So all of this it's really a non-issue. And then as far as turbo, again, the default settings, I really haven't messed with any of this either. But right now the car feels so smooth and everything is such a natural rate that I really haven't delved into this very much. And then we get down to the end of the settings here. And that's pretty much it, guys. So the big thing that I want everybody to know and look into, if your car ever gets in a position where it is literally almost, if not undrivable, and this is, again, it only happened to me. I'm not saying that it's going to happen to anybody else. It's just something that again, happened to me and really made my experience with these cars not good for the past several months. It all happened within this freewheeling. And again, I tore through my radio. I tore through everywhere I could tear through. And this was the only change that I felt that was instant and made the car drivable. Period. That's it. I'm sure that guys are running a bunch of other stuff in a bunch of different settings, and I believe you, and I am happy for you that that's what worked. But this is what worked for me as a guy who's tries to do a lot of generic stuff. I haven't even had my car in a position where I could go out and do, quote unquote crazy stuff yet, because or take those kind of chances that I typically like to take, and swing for the fences at times because this car has been so bad. And obviously the setup on this car was pretty darn good. Like I said, once we got this off, and I was having a terrible practice, could barely get the car around the racetrack. Once we got this setting off, for the entirety of the rest of the weekend, I put 2 turns in the right front and took 2 turns out of the left rear. That was it, other than getting my tire game a little bit more on point. So that's kind of it for this, guys. Does anybody else have any questions or want me to go through anything? I'm more than happy to go through more of my settings. Like I said, softening value and drive frequency are going to be on the docket for this weekend at PTs. And that's going to be where I'm going to wake my car back up a little bit more. I'm going to set my car down first thing, just like it is right now, and see where we're at, and then try to wake it back up a little bit. But if anybody has any questions or wants me to go over anything additional, I'm more than happy to. And if not, then we can go over to tires. And like I said, I'm fighting a cold pretty bad here, guys. So I don't know if I'm going to be on an incredible amount of time tonight, but happy to help in any way that I can. I'm just trying to help some of those. If there's anybody out there that's really, really struggling, particularly in their late model, it'll do the same thing to your sprint car, I'm sure. But anybody who's struggling really, really bad, I wanted to make sure that this information got out there. So. If there's no questions, I will. I'll get this turned off. We'll get this turned off, and we'll go into tires. Okay. Go back to standard here. There we go. Get my fan plugged back in. I had my battery storage charged, so I'm shocked that that this one lasted as long as it did, with me romping on the throttle and whatnot. So okay, no questions, guys. Cool, sounds good. Excuse me. Sorry, everybody's having to listen to me cough. So here we go. Tires. One of the big complaints that I had about this car was this car going down the backstretch felt like, and my hand's way up here, felt like that the center of gravity of this car would be like up here. And what I mean by that is the car felt incredibly tippy, as if the car was dancing down the backstretch. And it felt as if everything was so soft on all four corners of the car that it was just up and down really, really bad. Like it was just, again, it was dancing, making it almost undrivable again, outside of all the other issues I was having. So once I turned that freewheeling off on that ESC setting, that changed almost everything to where everything was really, really good. But where I was really lacking, and I noticed, was in my tire program. And sitting around, and Uric and Anthony Danta really took time to explain some tires to me over the weekend. So one of the really interesting things that I learned is I was completely, number one, building my tire incorrectly. But number two, I was treating the tire in what I thought was the correct feeling of a tire completely wrong. I was really thinking, that and this is not so this is one of my tires, and this is, we'll call it a pro tire, if you will. So I always thought, man, if I could pull on this thing, man, this thing's going to get into the racetrack. It's got some grip. It's going to really dig into the track, and it's got some grip. And it's, there's not a lot of density to this thing. It's going to get into that track, and if my thumb is simulating the track, it's going to get in there and it's going to rip. Well, basically what I figured out is I was inducing that wobble through my tires. A lot of my tires were not stamped, were not cut out. So number one, anytime I would get up on the throttle, my tires would balloon up to a very, very thin. If anybody's ever seen like a Top Fuel dragster tire, if anybody gets bored after this video, go on YouTube and watch what a Top Fuel dragster rear tire does, like an NHRA Top Fuel dragster in real life. The contact patch, while under power, is so little. Something probably more like that once it's grown, that the car has to dance back and forth. So that tells me that I wasn't properly breaking my tires in, as well as there was nowhere for that air and that buildup of energy to escape from, causing my car to be, just dancing all over the place. So Uric actually gave me a set of tires to run and try during one of my heat races. And also, I'm gonna do my best here, guys, to do the quote unquote squish test, and I'm gonna try to give the same amount of force. But watch how much quote unquote squish I'm able to get out of this tire. Okay, so look how much movement and deformation I'm putting into this tire. And again, the bad thing is this is one of my good tires in comparison to this, compared to what I really had. And I'm assuming that there's a lot of guys out there that are doing tires a lot like I was, because I thought I was doing a great job. And it's really impacting your race program, guys. And I learned this firsthand over the weekend. What it feels like. So now you guys just seen, I'll do the squish test again. Look at how much is moving on this tire. Okay? See how much it's giving and moving around? And this tire has quite a few runs on it. Okay? Now, this is a properly broken in at the end of its life type tire. Look at how much squish this tire. Look how much this tire is moving around. And again, I'm squishing the same amount, guys. Look at the movement. Look at the movement. Almost nothing. A properly broken in, properly mounted tire. Done the right way. So everybody will have their own ways, and I'm not going to give away, it's not that I'm not willing to. I didn't get into completely with Uric or any of those guys how they're breaking in tires, so I'm only going to be able to go into how I'm going to do it now. But I have a new set here that I still need to glue up. But I'm going to show you guys, like I say, I still need to glue these up, so I'm still working on them. But what I've found is I've went in and I'm going to break these tires in. These are quasi-speed or quasi-tires. I'm going to go in with a paddle right when we get off this live stream, and I'm going to go in and just brush these tires very lightly without pulling on the tire. I'm just going to let it sit on top and really break that tire in. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do until I can get a couple battery packs on this tire. So one thing that I've done previously that I think's been relatively bad, like on tires like these, for example, these were one of the first sets that I actually even put breather holes in. So that tells you how far off that I really am. But, I'm really going to go in depth here on my own personal tires and try to do things at the highest level that I can so I can get the most consistent tire, so that I can get something that even at full tread, something that feels like this and it's not doing that deformation, something that is just there. Because a wild thing about this tire versus this tire is, and even when you put them up next to one another, this tire, it's so much flatter. The camera's not doing a great job of showing it, but this tire is so much flatter. There's so much more available contact patch to the ground, and it does not balloon up on the race car. It doesn't. It just keeps the same kind of consistent contact patch down on the ground and onto the track all the time, rather than this tire that really once it gets excited and gets incredibly put under power. I mean, it's going up. That's how much tire you're putting on the racetrack, guys, up here, if anybody's not seeing it. That's how much contact. You're going from that to that on the racetrack, guys. So if your car is ever feeling like it's top heavy and it's rolling over, again, I would highly suggest this be the first place that you look, because it is that big of a deal. These tires are so incredibly important. And I think that a car with a good set of tires and a bad setup has the opportunity to beat a good setup car with a bad set of tires any day of the week. But thank you to Uric and Anthony. Thank you guys for all the time that you spent with me personally over the weekend. And I'm telling you guys, you got to look into your tire program. You want to get a nice, dense tire that lays flat and gets broken in to where that contact patch is all the way around nice and flat and smooth. So if you don't have that, I'm gonna report back. After I keep, this is a brand new set, never been on the racetrack, and I am going to work on these, and I will report back on some future Wrenchin Wednesdays, and anything that I hit on, I will be an open book for you guys. I don't want to ever take somebody else's that, what they do or don't do. I want to make sure that I'm giving my own experiences here, but yeah. So that's where we're at, guys. Make sure. I know, again, I'm looking at the same camera angle that you guys are. It's night and day in person, but the crown of this tire, my old tires that I've done, the crown of this tire is so much more than this beautiful flat tire. Everything up here is nice. It's nice and flat straight across. And even if you wanted to pinch it up, you really can't pinch the tire up because it's so tight and formed to the wheel properly. So again, I'll report back and let you guys know, but I just wanted you guys to see this, understand this, and really, if you haven't already, although, a lot of tracks we go to, we're on spec tires and things like that. This is a place where you can really expand your race program. And again, I felt that firsthand over the weekend. But excuse me again, guys. But so anyway, that's kind of where we're at, guys. Let me switch back over, make sure everything's good. There we go. But that's kind of where we're at. We can talk about anything else. I would love to go over anything else if anybody has any questions. So, Andy, that's a good question. Again, I can't speak for what others have done, but on mine, what I have done, and I have never done this before. Let me get this off here. Like I said, I haven't glued them, and I haven't glued them for this reason. So what I've done, thinking about a set of old foams, when you get them out of the package, they're ribbed on that inside. So what I've done is I cut those ribs basically flush with the side of my foam now. So that's how I cut those foams. And I can almost instantly tell a huge difference on how the tire lays on the wheel. Like it's almost instant how much flatter it lays. So I am trying that. I'm not saying, like I said, Uric and Anthony and all those guys were so kind with their time already and everything, the knowledge that they gave me, that I wanted to go out and figure out and search a lot of this on my own. But that's going to be, I think that's kind of the ticket too, is cutting that foam. So good question, Andy. I think we're on the right track. And if it's not, again, guys, I'm going to do all this independent testing myself and get as much feedback and info as I can on the track, and I will report back. And I'm sure a lot of these guys at your local tracks, wherever you guys race, are more than happy to share that as well. Rick, isn't that illegal? So I don't know, Rick, if that's illegal. That's new to me. I have heard of gluing foams. I have heard that for sure. But upon doing research this week for this episode, I mean, there's been so many guys, almost everybody that I've seen cuts foams. Even openly showing it on videos and whatnot. I know, I believe it was Jake Howard has a video of how he does them. So I haven't seen anywhere, and I'm not saying that it's not. And if it is, I'll throw these in the trash because I have no interest in cheating. I'm not trying to cheat. I'm just trying to make my program as good as I can. But to my knowledge, cutting foams has nothing to do with illegal. But I do know that gluing foams are no bueno. So Urich says no, his tires are just mounted straight up, no gluing, and no V cut on standard tire. So Urich's doing them straight up. Huh. Well, I'll have to look into that, Rick, because I did not know that. So obviously, I'll have to, before I glue these, then I'll order some new foams so that I don't. I'm not going to run illegal stuff. But that's news to me. So good call. I'm glad you said something. I didn't realize I was openly cheating on the internet here, but I will have to look into that too because I didn't realize that was a thing. Let me look here and see what I can come up with. Let's see here. See what we can come up with. And again, Rick, I'm not arguing in the slightest. If I was wrong, if I'm wrong, then I'm 100% wrong. Let's check it out here. So I'm actually pulling up the rule book here. No front brakes allowed, no front straight axles. So here's tires. In accordance to the DODC, tire choice will be determined by track service race organizers. General tire choices will be between either, so that's same for foam or rubber, so we don't need to know that. Any tire additives that are not used must be wiped clean before onto the track. So, Rick, I am looking at the... Let's see. Like I said, I don't want to argue with anybody. I just want to make sure everybody has the same rules. I'm looking at the website, pulled up PT's website, and I am actually on the 1/10 late model, for example, on tires. And it doesn't say anything about altering foams unless I'm missing something. Let me keep going here. Put this here so we can see it. Sorry, guys. So Dave said this right here. You must use the tires that come, or you must use the inserts that come with the tires. You are allowed to modify them. Gluing them to the rim is allowed. No liners or straps or any kind or style may be used inside the tires. You are not allowed to alter or cut the carcass or sidewall of the tire. Vent holes are allowed to be punched in the sidewall of the tire. Racing surface of the tire may be sanded or clipped. And that's straight from the Chili. So Rick is saying he knows that the Chili Bowl allows that. No, I know, Rick. No, nobody's. I didn't take it like that at all. That you're. I want to know too because I openly just cheated. If this is illegal, I have a live stream on the internet that I'm not going to take down that I openly just showed that I cheated. So I do not and will not condone cheating, and I will not. I have enough problems as it is on the racetrack. I'm certainly not going to. I'm certainly not going to openly cheat, or I'm certainly not going to behind the doors cheat, let alone openly cheat. So I want to make sure everybody. I appreciate you bringing it up because I want to make sure everybody has this information as well. You know, we've got 25, 30 people in here, and I don't want to tell anybody the wrong thing. So I wonder if my IT department here could get on the old interwebs and help me out. I'm trying to find tire rules.
I have no idea how to even start with that.
So the dirtoval.com is not a huge help.
Tire rules for phone.
Tires. Let's see. So yeah, Rick, I think from what I'm seeing, everything is.
Isn't it up to the race organizer?
I certainly hope it's not cheating.
Isn't it up to the race organizer?
That's what I'm finding.
Tire choices will be determined by track surface and race organizers. General tire choices will be between either foam tires or rubber tires.
Yep. Yeah, no, I get it, Rick, and that's I'm more than happy to kind of be the test dummy. So I don't. PT's foam rolls in the general track policy. Thank you, Ryan. It's in the general track policy section.
No altering the tires or foams allowed.
No altering of the tires or foams allowed. Okay. So on the general track policies of PTs, everybody, it says no altering no altering the tires or foams allowed. So I know for a 100% fact, 99% of the field has holes cut in the sidewall of their tire. That's altering a tire. So, we'll have to ask somebody, is the biggest question that I can ask, or that I can say. And again, I will not glue these for that specific reason. Okay, Caden said, cheat, never heard of her, just trying harder. Yep.
But it is a race organizer thing.
Right. So, I liked the idea of what Dave said, guys. What Dave put down. I'll pull it back up here. So Dave pulled it right off of what the Chili Bowl website is, and this is how I've always kind of read it and understood it. It's more about you have to run the foam that came with the tire. Is the rule that I've always understood. Yeah, and kind of like Ryan saying he's never seen anybody cut one apart and check. So obviously this was not my intention to open up a can of worms. And this is exactly why I am doing this myself, and I didn't want to bring in anybody else's wheels and tires other than my example from the outside. So on PT's website, no altering the tires or foams allowed. I know a lot of us sand on stuff. That would be altering a tire. So I guess everybody do it at your own discretion. I will try, if I'm able to make it this weekend to PTs. Like I said, it's kind of up in the air for me at the moment. I will make sure that I ask that question and see, and I will get some answers. And again, I'll report back. I do have, I think, 4 or 5 more sets coming from Go Fast Hobbies that should be here tomorrow. So when I mount them up, I will mount them up completely box stock, and I will leave them at that. But yeah, so that's all news to me. And I thought that I didn't think that I was reinventing the wheel by cutting foams by any stretch of the imagination. My first time might be the last. But thank you for Rick for bringing that up, because that is a great topic, and that's something that I wouldn't have ever bat an eye at that it was illegal or wasn't. So I know, like, when you go to PTs, you can't dope, things like that. So right. So Rick, maybe the cutting of foams is as well. I don't know. That's what's up, JoJo. Glad to have in here, man. But yeah. So anyway, guys, like I said, it's just something that I was wanting to show. I won't glue this setup. If maybe I'll reach out to Tom and get some clarification as well, and then I can put that on the Scale Labs page as something we're talking about. But yeah, so the last thing I meant to do with this was open up a can of worms, but I'm glad that we were able to get the discussion, and I will do my best to get some more clarification, and we can kind of go from there. I can actually see. Let me see who's online here. Doesn't look like Tom is, so I don't want to bother him. No, and I agree, Rick. I mean, I know of people who do, so that is. And again, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but for years I've known what some of these guys have done to tires. So I don't. Yeah, it's just a weird deal. But again, I don't want to ever throw anybody under the bus or cause any issue, and I certainly don't want to openly cheat. I would rather get last and know all my stuff is 100% good than win and have to live with cheating. So I know the saying is if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm more than happy. I am more than happy to play in that gray area. I love the gray area. As the engineer in me, if you will, loves the gray area, but I am not willing to just openly cheat. So we'll most definitely dive into that a little bit more, and I will seek some clarification for everyone, and I will report back. We can either talk about it on the next Wrenchin Wednesday, or I will post on the page and let everybody know. But with that being said, guys, we've been on for a little bit over an hour. I can tell my voice is just about ready to let go, and I'm more than happy to stay on here and help or talk about anything else that we can talk about. But if not, I'm going to go in, grab a shower, and go to bed because I need to have a pretty bitchin' day at work tomorrow, and that way I can get to the racetrack this weekend. So, like I say, more than happy to stay on as long as needed. But if nobody has anything else, let's see. Rick says, honestly, I just wish we could do what we want with them as long as they are the spec tire, insert and remove the question. Fair enough. Thanks, Dank. I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to, we have a little bit of a platform that we've established here. So we're just trying to let everybody know, we've got the most people in here now that we've had all night. So if anybody has any questions or wants me to go back over the ESC, I have everything right here. I'm more than happy to plug it back in real quick. But yeah, I agree. Don't be sorry, Rick. That was awesome that you brought that up because I probably looked like I've seen a ghost as soon as I read that because again I don't want to. I'm never going to be the guy that openly cheats. I will be the most gray of the gray areas, but I don't ever want to be the guy that cheats. So if I have to cheat to win, then I need to go do something else. I should probably win first and then try to worry about cheating to win. But yeah,
Gotta be able to sleep at night.
I'm just not that guy. So yeah, I did the last thing before we go, guys. What did does anybody have any feedback on the podcast? Anybody with Ryan Ralph, the first one? Being able to get that out on Spotify and Apple Podcast and everything, it reached quite a few people, and we did some pretty good numbers on the first ever unknown stream. So, Tyler, what's up, dude? You should do a video on it for the people who miss it. It would probably help those guys a lot. No, I agree, Tyler. I definitely can. Something else I can do is I can go in and strip the video of the stream before. If you missed anything, Tyler, just let me know. I'm more than happy to go back in. But if not, then it'll be on this stream for. It'll be on Facebook for I think 30 days, but it lives on YouTube. So Tyler, if you ever are curious with this and you have a question or whatever, go to YouTube and these live streams all live on YouTube forever. Rick, now can we just cut the side windows on late models? So funny thing about my stupidity on that, Rick, is I don't know if anybody's seen my first ever body that I had. I have a newer body now, a new simple body, but I had it when I first built my late model. I swore that looking through everybody's pictures, I thought everybody cut the windows out, like big cars. I didn't realize that they were all clear. So my stupid body, my first one, I had white windows because I never put the mask on because I thought I was going to cover, or I thought I was going to cut them out. So I felt like a real idiot there, and it looked so stupid. Now my car looks great. So shout out to Rick for that. But yeah, Tyler agrees with Rick. We need to cut out the side windows. Ryan, both of you guys, thank you for the feedback on the show. I'm glad you guys liked it. Still trying to put together a list of some more people to get on here. I know we've got quite the list getting put together. So hoping to do releases like that early in the week, so everybody's got all week to go and got all week to listen to stuff. Then we've got Wrenchin Wednesday, and then we can kind of go into the weekend of racing and all that. So I'm gonna let the banner go. I want to make sure everybody gets their flowers here a little bit for all the guys who ran really good. I really like doing these as well on these live streams. It gives me the vibes back in the day of when we all sat around on snow days in school and you waited to see your name down there. And this is something that I love doing. Hopefully I can have my name in there at some point, but always cool to do. So I always try to do the local tracks or big races that happened around us. Make sure that the podium gets on there. So out of all this stuff, making these banners every week is my favorite thing to do. I love it. This week I think we got Brickhouse, Slideways, and the Rumble featured on there. So always cool. But I'll let that go. Yeah, Rick, I'm sure I'm not the first, but man, was I mad at myself after having, I got a badass looking wrap and the car looks awesome and everything. And then, well, number one, I cut way too much of the body off too. I looked like a friggin', by the time it was all said and done, I looked like I had a street stock. So it was bad all the way around. Bad all the way around. Okay, so then we're done with there. So let's throw up Slideways. But anything else, guys? Anything I can go over? If not, like I said, we'll kind of start wrapping things down. We still got 20 folks in here, so that's awesome. Anything that I can help with, or no school tomorrow? All right, Rick. Have a good night, my dude. I will. I'll see you this weekend, hopefully, as long as I'm feeling good. I don't want to get anybody else sick. So, just like cheating, I also don't want to get anybody sick either. So, just kidding. But yeah, we still got 20 people in here. So, Anthony, you missed it. Urick's been in here commenting. He swore to me last weekend that he would never get on here and comment, and he's like our lead commenter. I think he's had the most comments on anybody. But I think I've about got him talked into doing one. Urick needs one. We need to do one with you too. So you're next after Urick. I don't know if he's still in here or not. But once he figured out that we weren't going to do him live necessarily, I think he was pretty pumped. Urick's like the kid off of. Has anybody ever seen the Benchwarmers movie? And there's the little brother that lives in the closet and comes out and sees the sun for the first time and starts screaming and runs off, runs back into his closet. That's Urick. Oh. Yeah, Anthony, Urick, even Rick. Rick's on the list. All three of you guys. Shoot, pretty much everybody in here comments on the list at some point. JoJo's on the list. Thedens is on the list. Everybody's on the list. All you guys. I'd love to have everybody's story and everything out there, and everybody get their flowers. I like that. But I'm glad everybody liked the podcast. That's something I've wanted to do for a long time, is start a podcast. I listen to podcasts literally all day long while I'm back here running these machines, and it's honestly pretty surreal to have my own. I can't, doesn't even feel real. And I don't, even to have had the few hundred of people that listen to it, it's pretty badass. So, so now JoJo's got jokes now. JoJo, keep going, and we're gonna all we're gonna do on the next live, everybody, is we're gonna just pull up JoJo's TikTok, and we're just gonna watch JoJo Lewis TikToks for an hour and a half. That'd be pretty good stuff. JoJo Lewis, full-time TikToker, part-time RC car racer. Anthony's favorite. I think I've seen Anthony do that 114 times over the weekend. Oh, that's funny. Let me put these 95 rulebook pages away now that I was searching. But all right, guys. Well, we've still got about 20 people in here. I hate to cut a stream short when we've got this many people, but if we don't have that many, no comments or conversation going on, I'm more than happy to end it too. So, just seen a video. Looks like 5-Star Raceway just got their oval, just cut the first laps on their oval. So that's pretty badass. Can't wait to go up there and run that. That should be that's going to be pretty cool. I think I'm pretty excited for 5-Stars 5-Stars track. So now we'll have, with Raceway 39 opening and then 5-Stars track opening, we're going to have 5-Stars still. I think several, almost 2 hours away. I think 5-Star is. Let me take a look. Take a gander. Oh wow! So 5-Star's 2.5 almost hours away from me. So still not, wouldn't call that a local track by any means, but can't wait to get up there and run it. But if that's it for you guys, I think we're going to call it a night. I appreciate you all so much. If you haven't already, check out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get podcasts. It should be live. The Scale Labs RC podcast. We did an episode with Ryan Ralph. It was an awesome podcast. We talked for over an hour and got a lot of content there. So go check it out. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. If you have any questions of anything we touched on tonight, send the Scale Labs page a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can with as much information as I can. And yeah, that's about it. Be a good person. Don't cheat. Play in the gray area. And I'll see you guys later.